Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast.
Hello and welcome back once again to the GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Alex Fletes. Man, am I grumpy today. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I have not felt good at all. I am just upset. And there's only one cure. Funny internet memes. Specifically, memes involving animals. And I figure since we usually go into education and we like to talk about animals and all the crazy things they do, why don't we see some of the fun things animals do with their owners and just how silly animals really can be. And there's no greater place than the internet for that. There's always a ton of memes out there, and I mean, I'm already talking about one right now. How about the legendary, the immortal Grumpy Cat? This cat has definitely been interesting, and unfortunately, Grumpy Cat, the actual cat herself, passed away, I believe, last year or a year or two ago. But the Grumpy Cat meme was actually a very, very fascinating meme that came out, simply because this one cat had a complete demeanor on its face that made it look like it was perpetually angry or grumpy, whereas it didn't do anything. And it's fun when you actually realize that a lot of animals, specifically cats and dogs, can actually make a lot of facial expressions and even movements, but they really don't mean that much, meaning that while, say, a dog will open its mouth to pant or maybe even to show its teeth, a lot of little facial expressions we as people might find don't actually mean much for animals, because animals don't rely on facial expressions for communication or to convey emotion. But that's not to say that a natural reaction from an animal's facial expression might not mean something. Rather, it just means that the animal is making a natural response, and this is the outcome. It's more or less animals using their face, their fangs, or their growls are more important. But the Grumpy Cat meme is probably one of the most famous internet memes out there, simply because it's a cat that looks like it doesn't want to deal with dumb stuff today. It's just upset, and nothing will ever make this cat happy. But I definitely don't feel that way today. I'm feeling much less grumpy as I start looking at more of these memes. And honestly, I love memes. Memes are hilarious. They are a way of communication for a generation, if not even longer than that. And you can simply reference a meme, and there's very, very few people who won't understand them. Case in point, along with Grumpy Cat memes, dog memes are also one of my favorites, especially such great, wow, amazing meme that is Doge. Doge meme is probably one of the funniest no-nonsense memes out there, simply because the Doge meme, if you don't know what a Doge is literally just a dog. A silly little Shiba pup, who just looked at the camera with a wow, so amazing, interesting, so good face. And what I actually didn't know was that the Doge meme was actually a picture taken by a I believe Korean pet owner who just got a perfect picture, and she posted captions about what the dog was saying in broken English. So a lot of the English that was coming out of it was just really broken English from, I believe, Korea. So the wow, so good, real nice, or something like that, was actually taken out of context, but it became so funny and that the image was shared around so much that it just became a worthwhile, hilarious meme. I know for a fact I use this meme very frequently, or it always makes me laugh. So if you aren't quite aware of the Doge meme, and how it's used, it's very simple. Someone might say something and maybe you aren't that interested in it, or maybe you are very interested in it. You can just post a picture of the Doge dog, just kind of looking at the screen like, wow, so cool. It's like, wow, much cool, so fancy. You know, it's both sarcasm and overwhelming at the same time, which makes it even funnier, because it can convey sort of multiple emotions in one picture and caption. And it's kind of what these photos sort of entail. And that's why memes, especially with animals, are hilarious, simply because they convey a lot of emotion that I think humans aren't always able to convey. And that's what's fun about these guys. Memes that can convey multiple meanings are a lot of fun, depending on how they're interpreted. And animals seem to have that impact on people with humor. Along with that, there's a lot of other silly animals out there who do many, many silly things. I mean, who doesn't know about the famous keyboard cat? Keyboard cat, which probably is one of the earliest internet memes, is interesting because, I mean, it's obvious what happened. It's just somebody with a cat and pretending to put them on a keyboard. But it's a meme nonetheless. Rather than being a reactionary meme, it's just a silly video. It's a video of a cat playing on the keyboard, but it's so famous it's actually transcended into modern media, movies, in so many places. And that's what's fascinating, is that something can be so funny for being so nonsense that it actually transcends media. And a lot of these have been cats and dogs. But what about other animals? Monkeys, llamas. Llamas have definitely been pretty popular in the last few years, or even the last decade, for no real reason. But llamas are pretty hilarious. They look funny. They are silly creatures, pretty docile. They're famous for, like, a couple things. Mainly, spitting on people and having a really funny run. But you may ask, why are llamas so popular? What's made llamas a cultural phenomena in the last decade? A multiple of things, really. If you go back to the early 2000s, you might remember a little movie called The Emperor's New Groove. I believe this is one of the main reasons why llamas became so popular, because the main character got turned into a llama and spent that through most of the movie. And it didn't help that the movie itself was super hilarious. So I think that really helped put llamas on the map. On top of that, if you grew up in the early 2000s, you probably ended up seeing a cartoon by the name of The Adventures of Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. In that, one of the main characters, Carl, was obsessed with llamas for some reason, and it was seen as weird. However, it was super funny in how random it was, which sort of spawned this random sense of humor that people adapted later on in that decade. A lot of shows just had random jokes of, oh, hey, here's a llama. And that sort of just catapulted llamas into a meme or a culture status. So it really is interesting how some of these creatures become popular, or even people know about them simply because they were funny on the internet. It happens all the time. And it's constantly fluctuating around. But llamas are definitely on the map. And I think that as people continue on, and someone just says, hey, this would be an interesting animal, and it gets put somewhere, immediately that animal's going to thrive for a while. And that's really good. The question is, what's going to be the next animal? You know, a lot of these memes and just silly animals are really interesting in how they become so funny. And it's always just fun just to watch more videos. I'm actually gonna watch another one in just a second. There's a ton of them I've been binging for the last couple days, especially since we're all stuck inside right now, and I think that's just something we all really need. It's just the time to get to watch silly animals and just have a laugh. And that's always something I try to find the bright side in things. But speaking of bright side, we're going to take a quick break and have a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll talk about more funny animals and interesting facts behind the memes or the legends that are these wacky, silly animals. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Back. Thanks for sticking around. So awesome. Such cool. So we're talking about animal memes, funny animal videos, and just silly things animals tend to do today. So instead of jumping right into the comedy, I thought I'd start with something that's a little more cute, something sweet, pretty funny, but at the same time just adorable, and just something that I hope most people have seen. So there's this really adorable video of a dog chewing on its favorite chew toy. Now, its favorite chew toy is a squeaky plush version of a Gumby toy. Now, if you know who Gumby is, some of you may not, surprisingly. Gumby was this cartoon character made out of clay. It was a claymation character. And he could shapeshift himself into whatever he wanted. And it was just a sweet children's show. It was a lot of fun. And this dog's chewing on a stuffed sort of squeaky Gumby. Well, this golden retriever, very large dog, but very sweet, loving dog, is laying on its bed, chewing on this Gumby doll, and then out of nowhere, its owner comes out of a room and is dressed up in a life-size Gumby costume. And he just kind of walks over, and the dog, I kid you not, has the sweetest expression and reaction. It's chewing on its own little toy, and then it just stops and looks up, and it has the slow realization. It's like, whoa, it's my toy, but bigger. And then it just walks over super slowly, and then when it knows what it's looking at, it just jumps up and just starts playing and nuzzling it, and it's honestly one of the cutest things. It's funny, it's very silly too, just because the fact that the dog would recognize it, the fact that just how sweet and everything plays out, it was adorable. And that's always the kind of thing we love to see. It's just how silly and how cute animals can be, and a lot of stuff that happens. It's really adorable. And you know what else is really, really adorable too? Animals that dance. And one of my favorite videos, it was an old Vine, I just happened to see this earlier today, and I just wanted to quickly share it, was this really cute husky, or I believe it was a German Shepherd. It's outside, it's a little chilly, and this husky is clearly dancing and bopping around because it's super excited, but the way it moves is just perfect. And then someone synced it up to Toto's Africa, and it was just this really cute, really hypnotic dance that I just loved watching. It's just really adorable. It's just popping up and down. It's a really sweet, really cute animal. And it's it makes me wonder, well, is this funny? Do we change it for the sake of humor, or is it just is it just simply cute? It's honestly just a cute thing. Some dogs get really excited when they see their owners or when they're ready to be let outside, and as people, we observe things fun a little more entertainmently, a little more humorously than other species will. So seeing this cute dog bopping up and down all around, it's really adorable. But let's move on to another mammal. How about something a little closer to the primate side? We have this really awesome video. I'm sure you've probably seen this. This is probably one of the funniest videos I've seen. It's a monkey. It looks more like a mandrill, so it's kind of it looks like a small baboon. It's in a zoo enclosure, and a guy managed to get its attention, and he does an up-close magic trick for it, where I guess he takes a card or some paper, and he does a card disappears trick for the monkey, and the monkey's like fully paying attention. He's just watching with intent. And like the guy does the trick, he take the paper, flips it, and the monkey's like, whoa, what? And then the guy reveals it again. The monkey's like, what? Like trying to grab the card. It's really silly. And it's honestly one of those things where it's like, wow. That reaction was like priceless. It makes me laugh every time I see it, just because of that's genuine surprise. That's genuine, like, whoa. You don't see that very often on animals, and that's why I find that so endearing. It's so cute, because this monkey just sees like a human do something that baffles the mind, and it baffled this monkey's mind to no end. And it's just really adorable. It's adorable to see animals get surprised by things humans do, which also does remind me of a very popular trend that happened not that long ago. The disappearing challenge, if anyone remembers that, was a very, very cute challenge that happened between pet owners and their pets maybe a year or two ago. But I found this one to be really funny for a lot of the reactions, both on the people and the animals. So if you don't remember this challenge, which I hope you do, it was everywhere for a while, a lot of times pet owners would take a blanket and they would hold it in front of them, make sure their pet's paying attention, usually a dog, maybe a cat sometimes. And what they would do is they would dangle the blanket in front of them, and then they would like peek up a couple times, and then when they were ready, they'd raise the blanket up and drop it, and as the blanket was going down, the pet owner would run into like the hall or the next room, and then the pet would be confused. They would be like, what, where are you, what? And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. One prime example was, there was one, I think it was a German Shepherd, who they did this trick, and it worked perfectly, and they were so confused, and the dog was like whimpering and so confused and scared. But then the owner popped out, and the dog was super excited, and it was adorable. It was sweet and cute. A couple other times there were cats who did it, and they were like confused. Like, I have never seen cats with such a look of like suspicion and confusion in their entire lives. But for every time this gag worked, about 10 other times this gag failed very frequently, from pets who got a little too excited and simply just jumped on their owners before the trick even happened, to my personal favorite, owners who got a little too excited and weren't paying attention and ran into the doorway they were trying to hide in, which was honestly the best reactions out of all those. It wasn't even the fact that they were trying to prank their pets. It was more or less they were trying to prank their pets and didn't do it very well, which always makes me laugh. Just with how silly people can be sometimes over animals. It's super hilarious whenever the people get to be just as funny as the animals can be. On top of that, we also do have some funnier text memes. If you know any text memes or pictures you might have seen, they are honestly probably some of the most iconic things that came out of the early 2000s to 2010s, when memes were really strong. text memes would just simply be like, when you saw a grumpy cat originally, you'd see things like animals who were upset. You'll see very simple things like this one, it's a hawk who's like just holding its talon in a fist, and it's just like a text meme that says to be or not to be, and then in another text it's just him like pondering down, that is the question. It's very silly things giving human emotions and human thought to animals. These kind of things make me laugh a lot, specifically the ones of the animals that are like caught mid-run, so it looks like they're floating or like numing like in midair. It's hilarious, saying how animals know how to defy gravity, which may or may not be a case, but it's honestly hilarious. I love whenever people are able to project really funny ideas onto animals in a very cute and effective way. And there's been some other really funny memes like that as well. But I'm going to save those for just a moment, because in just another moment, we're going to go on a quick little break. Because I need to go brush up on more memes, get some nice water, and just have a good laugh, because I can't stop chuckling at some of these things I'm looking at. But in the meantime, enjoy these words from our sponsor, messages from our team, and brush up on some of your memes as well. And definitely feel like if you want to comment below and share some of your favorite types of memes, we would love that. But until then, stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Back again, talking about animals, the silly things we do, and that meme culture. So if there's one thing more funny than projecting human thoughts onto animals through text bubbles, it's actually projecting human thoughts through words. One of the prime examples of this is this really adorable video of this man who actually records his dog making little mouth movements or small growls or barks, and he managed to dub over the thing, making it sound like he was having a conversation with a talking dog. And the conversation was about dog treats, and it was hilarious. So, in this video, this guy is talking with his large dog, and the dog kind of like gives little whimpers, and his mouth opens like very frequently in small amounts, so it looks like he's having a conversation. He's making, words and dialogue. In the process of it, he himself is talking to the dog, saying, "Hey, so you know that bacon in the fridge?" And the dog's like, "Ooh, bacon? I like bacon." And he goes, "Yeah, well, I know you like bacon." He goes, yeah, I like bacon. It's good." He goes, "Yeah, so I ate it." And the dog just starts like opening his mouth and going, "Ah, no, not the bacon." And it's honestly a really, really, really cute, really funny video, because it's just a really well made project. It's really sweet between the guy and the dog. And then he gets funnier. He goes, "And you know those dog treats you like?" "Yeah." "And well, I decided to take those and put them in cover in peanut butter." "Yeah, I like peanut butter." He goes, "Yeah, and I gave it to the cat." And he goes, "No." It's honestly really, really cute for what it is. It's really sweet. I love when people just give these cute voices to animals and they do things with them, like just make them cute, blubbering. They give them these cute little personalities that just work really well for them. On top of that, there's a lot of other cute ones too. So I've talked previously in other videos and audio about how sometimes animals will make noises that sound like people, that sound like how people talk. And in this case, no, the cat's not talking, but it definitely does have a lot of sass. This very fluffy cat, it's got like this sort of smirk / scowl to it. It's like, I am better than you. And someone just took all its meows, edited it out, and says, hey, you want to eat? And the cat just goes, yes. Yes. And it's just really funny of how minimalistic it is, but it's just taking its long meows and just making it sound like it's really sassy and really sweet. And it's always really creative seeing people give a really cute voice to animals like that, showing that sometimes our animals have a pretty big personality, and this is probably what they would be like if they were people, if they talked and communicated like people. On top of that, another personal favorite, if you've ever been on Vine or seen a lot of old Vine compilations, is one of my personal favorites. There's an owl, and it's just, the guy's obviously talking for the owl, but it's just walking on the ground, and he goes, "You got this, Trevor, make him wait for it." The owl stops, then turns to the camera and goes, "Boom." And it's, it's honestly a really good take on comedic timing, along with just utter nonsense for an animal. Owls themselves are probably some of the cutest, and yet very deadly, predatory birds. And fun fact about owls is that the way that their wings are designed, they actually don't make a noise whenever they, fly. So, very rarely will you ever hear an owl flying in the night or in the daytime, because their wings are designed very specifically to give them sort of a stealth boost, if you will. So owls are very fascinating. This one just has a big personality, and I love it. Animals that have a big personality are honestly some of the best ones, simply because they just, make us fall more in love with animals, with how sweet they are, with a lot of the just cute things they do, and that's what's fun about them. On top of that, animals have very, very big personalities even without us giving them personalities, and that's simply just because animals just do things. The animals have a lot of personality in just the way they are. Their reactions, their naive and innocent attitude towards things that we people do is honestly what makes them so fun. Another one that really makes me laugh is just this picture of a cat clearly wanting a bowl of Fruit Loops. It's just like kind of really floofy and kind of shall we say puffy cat who is standing on two legs, and he's begging for Fruit Loops, but he looks like a Fruit Loop because he's just so big and round. And then like people are just like, brother, may I have some Fruit Loops? And it's just so big, but it's so cute. Just again, personality a cat will have despite anything about itself. And then another very classic, very, very fun meme that a lot of people might not remember. It's not a living animal, but Philosophy Raptor was a pretty fun one, which was a funny picture of a raptor scratching its chin in a sort of Confucius thinker style, and it's simply asking a somewhat philosophical, somewhat really dumb, paradoxical question. Very silly, very fun meme for the time being, and still pretty relevant, a lot of times asking a lot of parallels, and it was really silly. It was really good time with how simple the memes were. I'd like to try breaking down more memes for you, but they keep getting a little more complicated as we go on, and I need to do a lot more research for that. But the fun idea of just an animal in its naivety, giving these philosophical answers is just a lot of fun. There's a lot of other ones there. There's like bad joke eel. There's so many bad jokes. Like, for example, I'm on a seafood diet. I see food, I eat it. It's like I'm sorry, there's just so many dumb ones in here. Can February March? No, but April May. It's just a picture of an eel with like see what I did there, folks? It's kind of like the Fozzie Bear of the deep sea. It's a lot of fun. And that's what makes it a lot more fun. It's just the animals probably do have a lot to say, and they probably be rolling their eyes or laughing on the ground with how many of these memes we make out of them. And there's so many silly ones out there. Some are just animals doing kooky things, and some of them are just animals being animals, and we make them funnier. Another really great video is just one of my favorites as well. It's just a cat just constantly going, no, 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 no. Just because, again, cats and dogs, a lot of animals have some capability to actually communicate with people, but this one's just a cat just communicating, no, none of that, no. But it's a little curious why a cat would actually make those noises. If not saying no, it actually might be the cat trying to meow, but having a funny meow. Just simply, it's coming out weird. But we interpret that as a cat having an existential crisis and just having just a no of a time. It kind of is curious, and I would like to hear more cases of cats and other animals actually talking and kind of wondering what the extent of their vocal range is. But either way, cats are pretty funny, dogs are hilarious, and memes will be dank if we let them be. But for the time being, we're going to go on another quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some more very silly and funny animals and the things they do and how they really like to meme it up. But until then, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Back at it again. We are here talking about pets, animals, the silly things they do, and the memes they create. So if you have spent any time on the internet, you've probably seen this meme go around a lot, and it's honestly one of my favorite reactionary memes, and it's definitely gained a lot of popularity. So people don't know that it actually has a name, but Smudge the Cat is the very popular meme cat right now. Some people think it's just Smudge the Cat. Some people don't actually know it's called Smudge the Cat, but it's people know it mainly as the cat at the dinner table, or the woman yelling at cat meme, or confused cat at dinner table, which is one of my favorites. It's just this really funny Photoshop picture of a cat sitting at a dinner table. And then, actually, it's not even Photoshopped. Apparently, it's actually just the cat sitting at the table. And then people started to Photoshop in the cat with pictures of two women. Now, the two women themselves are actually from something else as well. So it's actually transcended a little bit beyond what it was. It was originally just Smudge the Cat being silly. However, from the show The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it's two ladies who are arguing over something. The scene is actually from a argument possibly involving what looks like a bad relationship. And then they sort of transcended that meme to these two ladies yelling at a cat. And they're yelling at the cat, who is completely confused and doesn't know what's going on. Like, he's just sitting there minding his own business while this lady's yelling at a cat. And it's really, really hilarious. So it's basically like, it's taken on too many different things, like, let's see. Like this one, they put girls when they see a spider, and it's the two girls pointing and screaming at the cat, and it says the spider, and the cat's just like confused. It's really hilarious how well this meme is being used to portray like just complete confusion on both parts. And I love it. It's definitely one of the funniest memes I've seen, showing the duality of animals, how their innocent and cute nature just kind of affects all of us, and how those innocent reactions just become cute to us and can really change how we look at certain media. On top of that, that's actually interesting how memes can change too, is that memes can be born from other memes upon memes, and one joke becomes another joke, and another joke eventually kind of combines multiple jokes into one big funny joke. But let's talk about a couple other animals, specifically cute animals doing cute things because they're cute. One of which is just this really cute greyhound who's just sitting on the couch, and like people start laughing, and the greyhound just starts responding with like a sort of ha 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 ha, like doesn't really know what's going on, but it's laughing like it's nervous for some reason. It's just like, they're doing it, I'm doing it, ha 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 ha. It's honestly really adorable because it's like it's trying to be like everyone else, and it actually feels like any social situation, you know, if you're like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm here anyway, I might as well make it look good. And it's actually really funny, it's really adorable, and it's really relatable just because of how cute it is. It's fun whenever animals take that personality, and it's like, yeah, I get that. Been there, buddy. Been there several times. On top of that, I think cute little things animals do, like this man who tries to pet its cat, and like it just like takes its paw and just puts the hand down slowly. Like, I myself have done that several times, but seeing a cat emulate the exact behavior is honestly, it's hilarity and a half for me. It's really adorable. On top of that, though, there's one really cute, really funny video of this white fox that must have been a rescue, because those things aren't supposed to be pets, but it's clearly a rescue because of its just personality. Someone just goes ha 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 ha, and the cat just responds with like the fox just responds with a high pitched laugh as it's falling over, which is so heckin' adorable because it's not something you would hear every day. Not only do you not get to see a fox, but getting to see this really adorable fox act like a person and have a really cute laugh is really, really adorable. It's adorable getting to see not only animals, but also getting to see animals we don't usually get to interact with do things like that. That's why Vines and memes and all that stuff is really funny, because it kind of makes us look at animals a bit differently, and sort of just makes us laugh and realize, yeah, animals are pretty great. And I hope more people realize that animals are really freaking great. On top of that, this one really adorable video of these two dogs, the two Rottweilers, which Rottweilers already get a really bad rep for being vicious dogs, along with pit bulls. First off, no, these dogs are adorable little sweethearts who don't mean any harm. They're only given bad reps because people have given them bad reps in the past. That's not the case. They are sweet dogs. But these Rottweilers are outside playing, and you know, the owner calls for one of them, and the dog looks, but then the other dog, who's like faces on the ground, picks it up, and their leash is all over their face, and they look like they're from the guy from The Shining, just like putting his face through it and stuff. it's really adorable. Its face getting kind of pulled around by the leash, and it's like, what's up? It's really adorable because it just shows how big of a personality two animals can have despite being the same breed, probably around the same age too. That's why these kind of things are really great. These videos and these memes, it shows off how much personality different have and how differing they can be. Animals have such large personalities, but a lot of people don't get to see them because they don't quite understand. They don't understand it, or they don't take the time to see it unless they really get to, see more animals. They get to spend more time with animals and do really fun things. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun whenever animals get that chance to be just animals, and we capture those moments. Memes, vines, fun internet videos definitely have been great ways to really expose ourselves to the animal world and see the personalities. There's a lot of really fun things out there with animals. And they can be very silly, but just because animals can constantly be silly doesn't mean that it's our goal to document all of their silliness and to make them sillier and stuff. It's just sometimes what they do. And this one video, for example, sometimes you're just spending time with your dog. Sometimes you just want to get a nice picture of them or a cute video, and your dog just has none of it and doesn't know what to do and just sticks its tongue right at you, like this one. This dog, it must have just been getting overwhelmed by its owner, and it's like, to smile, say something cute, and the dog just like sticks its tongue out like bleh. And it's honestly like one of the cutest reactions, and I'm just like, yeah, that's definitely how you react to that situation. It's good boy. And that's just the beauty. That's just the beauty of them all, is the fun personalities that animals have, just like each individual person. We'll never get to experience all of them, but hey, are you going to get to experience every single person out there too? Probably not. But that's why we have media, to be able to share these really amazing experiences with each other in a instant, honestly. And having that ability to share in an instant is honestly the best part of it all. And that's why I'm always happy to be able to have the type of media we have. With that being said, though, we're going to be gone for just an instant while we have a quick word from our sponsors. But please stay tuned, and we'll talk more about some really amazing animals and some very interesting history and origins of some memes and how they might be impactful to the world. But please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast, the show that gives you advice on everything travel. We explore places you've always wanted to go, as well as giving tips for traveling in those places. We'll give you advice on the best sites for travel tips, information, and discounts. Join us as we travel the world, explore cultures, and meet new people. The Golden State Media Concepts Travel Podcast has got you covered. Download the GSMC Travel Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
I'd like to thank you guys for staying tuned today. So today we're talking about funny animals, memes, cuteness, and all the fun things they bring to our lives. Now, we've talked about silly animals, animal videos, a lot of really cute or really silly things that animals have done that make me laugh and hopefully make you laugh too, and some meme cultures, but I feel like getting just a tiny bit serious for a little bit and talking about something that I thought was really amazing and cute and honestly something I never expected to see in my lifetime, but I will talk about it just for a bit. So, a few years ago, back in 2017, there was an interesting case in Japan, specifically in the zoo in the Saitama prefecture in Japan, in their zoo. They had an interesting case. Now, some people might have heard of this. A lot of people who are interested in anime and cartoons and manga and all that have probably heard about this. But this one is an interesting case nonetheless. So, there was a penguin that went by the name of Grape-kun. Now, quick Japanese lesson, when you say kun, it's usually just kind of referring to someone in a level or sometimes younger than you. Usually animals get called kun or chan, but I'm not gonna be perfect on Japanese, but I'll say grape kun is just kind of like saying it's grapey, or it's grape, you know, it's just a way of calling someone their name. So this cute little penguin, named Grape Kun, lived in the aquarium. It lived in the zoo, and one day there was an anime that was premiering at the time, and they decided to be a cute little cross promotion to put a small cardboard cutout of one of the characters, who was an anthropomorphic penguin girl by the name of Hulululu. Which was very adorable. She was a cute little drawing of a girl penguin, so she was like a human, kind of dressed in penguin-like outfit. Very adorable. And people noticed that it was interesting. For some reason, Grape-kun was just staring at her, like spending most of the day just staring at this cute cardboard cutout of this anime girl who was inspired by the penguins. They thought it was cute. They thought it was just, it's adorable. He's in love with this little cutout. But then a few days after, they actually decided to put a fence around Grape-kun because they decided that it wasn't good for his health, simply because he wasn't actually eating very well, and there were some changes in his diet and a lot of things. But it was just kind of cute because it became this sort of little love story between a penguin and this cute cardboard fictional cutout. And it transcended. It went a lot of stuff happened between this. People saying that those two should be reunited, they should be happy. But they actually did, for a little while, actually have to replace the cutout. They actually took it out for a little while, and Grape-kun was sad, but it was getting old and worn out from the weather. But they ended up actually putting a new one in, I believe. But then afterwards, they put a fence around him, and it was pretty sad. In fact, so much so that because this got so popular and becoming news, people were drawing fan art of this, drawing pictures of Grape-kun with this character. Even some big sites, like one of the big anime distributors that was actually distributing the series, Crunchyroll, made a cute video about them as well. Later on, they actually did have the voice actress of this character come and see Grape-kun, gave him a hug, took pictures. It was adorable. And people were just saying, let him be with his the love of his life and stuff like that. And for a little while he was, until eventually they started noting that Grape-kun was actually old, and they started noting that his health was actually deteriorating because he was getting old. So everyone was just wishing him, the best and stuff, and they let him back with his cute. They let him go back with his cute, dream girl for a little while, and then eventually, unfortunately, Grape-kun passed away back in October 12th of 2017. So very sad. And then the fan arts, just all the cute tributes and stuff like that. Even the actual character designer from the original series decided to draw up a picture of the character with Grape-kun as official art, and it's actually really adorable that it went that far and it became that big of a deal, just because an animal did something so, I guess, adorable, but at the same time kind of human as well. And it was honestly something pretty unexpected, but also pretty sweet for the time, and something I like to revisit every once in a while just because it's such a nice story. But Grape-kun was definitely an interesting meme, rather than the silly, nonsensical memes, more like something that could really just be a really cute story. But while we kind of take a little shift over from a serious, little more melodramatic and cute story, let's kind of educate you a little bit. So if you've ever been on the internet and you are a fan of birds like I am, you've probably heard the phrase burb used around a lot, and people are kind of like, what the heck's a burb? It's like little fluffy boys, those little things over there. So let me educate you for a minute here. If you ever hear the word burb used, it's not referring to the suburbs. It's not referring to a type of drink. It's just referring to birds. People just call it burb, mainly whenever birds do things that are silly, cute, or if they're little small birds. And it's pretty easy to confuse burb because D and B are really close in the keyboard as well, so it's actually kind of fun. It's how often that happens when you're texting. But burbs, just silly birds doing things like, being cute, being fluffy, sometimes even doing things like, doing the peekaboo. If you've ever seen that kind of thing, that always gets me. Whenever a bird pops out from somewhere, it just goes peekaboo. That's honestly one of the best things I've ever seen. One of the reasons why I really love birds is because, they have sort of this cute curiosity mentality and they explore things in a different way. There's always birds doing silly things, and unlike a cat or a dog, which kind of interacts with things a little similarly to how we do, birds tend to have very limited ways to interact with things. So whenever they get their hands on something, they kind of go ham with it until they're satisfied or until eventually they can't take anymore. And that's what's honestly really adorable, seeing a bird do things like pick up a cup and just pick up a cup and then just start rattling around because they don't know what the heck this thing is, or a bird that's sees a microwave and starts imitating the microwave sounds. Simple things just like a bird just getting very excitable and overwhelmed and just kind of puff up. That's another indicator that you have a burb on your hands. Or just seeing a bird being cute. That's honestly any appropriate time to call him a burb. And I think that meme culture definitely does help us look at certain creatures, certain things in a different light, simply because what's fun about it is that it makes us look at things differently. It sort of presents things in ways we don't normally will ever get to see. And it gives sort of a voice to the unspoken. It just sort of gives us a chance to really get to see things that aren't seen and sort of realize, hey, that thing's not gross. It's actually really cute if you stop and looked at it. Here, let me show you why it's funny under these circumstances. And that can be with anything. And animals definitely have a good stake in that, because there are a lot of animals that get represented in memes that might be considered ugly or weird, but once they're given a funny meme, people are like, oh, I love those things now. And that's all it really can take, is just people uniting in a fun, humorous setting to make things really just work out for those kind of creatures and for everybody, to be honest. And that's why memes can be really powerful. Community memes, just a sense of togetherness, because people can get together and laugh about something. But speaking of get together, we're going to have to separate for just a moment while we have another word from our sponsor. But when we come back, we're going to have some more, shall we say, retro memes and some of their interesting origins as well. But please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
have returned. Thanks so much for sticking around today. I'm hoping you're enjoying today. We're talking about pets, memes, animals, the silly things they do, and their cultural relevance. Now, when it comes to memes, a lot of times we think that it needs to be simple, funny text memes, relatable templates, Doge, viral. But a lot of times memes just need to be something funny that people can discuss for a while and have some kind of cultural significance. Or rather, they just sort of pop up and add something. And memes aren't limited to just simply animals being silly or people saying dumb phrases, but rather sometimes things people can create or a funny moment from a show. One of the earliest memes that a lot of people don't really seem to remember or know why it was a meme is the absurdity that was narwhals. And I've talked previously about narwhals and how interesting they are, but the relevance of narwhals is specifically as a meme, and then on top of that, also talking about how memes can influence the status of a species is very important. Memes are important simply because they can sometimes bring attention to something that needs attention. In this case, a while back, there used to be a very silly song called Narwhals, a awesome kind of rock song about how awesome narwhals are and why they're awesome and all the stuff they do and how cool they are. And this was a fact. Narwhals were pretty awesome. In fact, when I was younger, I didn't actually know narwhals were a real thing until after the song, and then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, they are real. I thought they were made up for a while for TV. The relevance of this simply being is that a creature that seems to have no significance whatsoever can actually gain a lot of significance and attention simply because of how fun and interesting memes can be if people latch onto them. A good example of this is not really through animals, but rather the fact that if it wasn't for memes, a while back there was a very funny meme called the Ugandan Knuckles meme. Now, it had a lot of controversy because people believed the meme had a lot of racial undertones that were negative, and in some ways this could be true. However, the scenes that were used for the meme were used from a movie called, I believe it was Who Shot Captain Alex? I believe that was the name of it. And this movie was produced by a Ugandan small film production company, very small. I'm talking your average high school student probably had more production quality than these people did. But these people worked with what they had to create something and created what might be a very cheesy movie to us is actually pretty fascinating for what they were able to accomplish with what they had. And because of that, the movie actually became more well known and helped bring attention to the Ugandan Film Society through a simple meme, and really did help out a lot of their needs. So it's interesting how memes can be pretty influential, especially with animals. Another very fun meme, as I already mentioned, Ugandan Knuckles, but Knuckles itself, or the and Knuckles meme. Now, people say Knuckles, what the heck is Knuckles? Well, if you've ever played a video game, you definitely know Knuckles the Echidna. First off, what's an echidna? Well, thanks to and Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog and pretty much the character itself has brought attention to the character of an echidna. Now, to this day, we still don't see a lot of them out here because they are based more in Australia. But they are similar to anteaters and they are knuckle walkers. So that's actually fun where they get the idea of giving the character Knuckles the Echidna large knuckles on their fists. Because knuckles, or rather echidnas, walk on their knuckles with large claws coming out of the front of their paws. So it's actually very fascinating because without that, we wouldn't even know what an echidna would be and why that would be fascinating. And that's sort of the beauty of things like memes, is that they give light to interesting factoids or interesting cases of animals that you probably wouldn't know about simply because people don't really have the time or really don't have the motivation to go look up more about animals, because that's just the way it is. People don't always have the priority of looking up animals simply because it's not always on the front of their mind. Retro memes simply having the ability to say, hey, look at this animal. This animal is silly. Did you know animals are silly? And memes can actually be a good way to help take care of animals, or get the point across that, hey, if you care about animals, if you like memes, you care about animals. If you care about animals, you should definitely do something about that. I can't tell you how many opossum memes I've seen, or memes about what should be more endangered or more terrifying animals that get put into a nice light. I mean, heck, you could take a cold-blooded creature like a snake or an alligator and make them cute or make them funny through memes, and then bring more attention to the cause of, hey, these creatures aren't that bad if you don't make them out to be. Now, granted, just because a character or a creature is memed doesn't always mean that they're safe, but it does bring the attention to the creature that it really does need. So definitely, if you have the memes, if you have the means to look up a funny meme, maybe look a little deeper into that meme. There might be more to it. There might be more to that funny animal. What's going on? Why is that animal like that? What is that animal? Do a little bit of extra research if you have the time. It's actually way worth it to know what's going on, what does that mean, and how does this affect me. Animals are very fascinating. Personality-wise, they have some of the biggest personalities, probably bigger than some of the other things you'll see that are memes. I mean, people can make dumb memes all the time. People are living memes, but that's usually due to stupidity or ignorance. Animals are innocent and oblivious, and that's what makes them funny, is the cute unawareness that they do that makes it relate back to us. But even then, by the end of the day, animals are fascinating creatures regardless, and taking the time to get to learn more about them, taking the time to get to see world from their perspective and to know why animals are so amazing is definitely a great way to get to learn a little bit more. And if we get to have some laughs along the way, I mean, why not? I know that's one reason I really love learning about animals, is they surprise me and I learn a thing or two. And getting to learn a thing or two about animals, even if they have big or small personalities, whether it's because an animal had a funny haircut or someone put some funny captions under it, definitely works for me. I mean, right now, I'm looking at a meme right now of a cat loading, trying to buffer right now. And that's the joke. It's a buffering cat. I'm looking at a picture of a dog's face superimposed over a dust storm, and I'm like, that's actually really hilarious. And it's just funny. I mean, there's other ones like Advice Dog, or, you know, there's A Letter for You from dogs. There's a lot of silly, interesting animals that get put in these kind of things that, you know, just kind of become funnier, that just make us look at animals in such a great light. You know, I wouldn't even know about things like narwhals without memes, and think about what else we wouldn't know if we weren't constantly exposed to this craziness at times. And I think right now, while things are kind of crazy, I mean, why not? Memes can be a little deeper than we give them credit for, so why not take some time to get to dig deeper into the memes that we so love, and just kind of really take some time to enjoy the things that are offered and that are out there for us. But with that being said, I would like to thank you guys for tuning in to the GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. If you like what you heard today, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment down below. That helps us a lot. And why don't you leave a comment for one of your favorite memes as well. On top of that, if you want to communicate with us more, you can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And, once again, thank you for listening. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.